Welcome to the Larson Health Podcast, where we connect the dots between physical health, mindset, and sustainable wellness. I'm your host, Kim Larson, founder of LarsonHealthWeightLoss.com. Today, I'm excited to welcome back a guest who brings both expertise and heart to every conversation, Victoria Curtis, a
Hi.
passionate, hi, a passionate nutritionist with a master's in nutrition. Victoria's personal journey has helped countless women break free from restrictive mindsets and discover the joy of nourishing their bodies. In this episode, we're diving into a topic that affects so many women: how to heal your relationship with food. We'll explore emotional eating, food guilt, diet culture, and how to embrace a more intuitive, empowering approach to nutrition and wellness. Hi, Victoria. Welcome
Hi.
back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be back. This is fun.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. So thank you. So Victoria, we're gonna start off by sharing your own experience with diet culture and what made you pivot to a more intuitive approach to wellness.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like diet culture is very prevalent for anyone who has social media. There's a lot of information out there that's just kind of thrown at you. And I feel like for me, a lot of it was worth tied to how I look or what I ate.
Okay, yeah.
And with that, there comes this almost form of control, I think, in that, where if you can control these certain things or you can control what you look like and all of that, you feel in a way you think you feel better. But in reality, it's unsustainable. And over time, it just is horrible for your mind, for your body, and for relationships. It all starts to get reflected from what's kind of happening inside. And for me, that was very obvious. But I think social media plays a huge role in diet culture. There's so much information, and I just kind of got lost in all of that. And
Okay.
for me, it kind of was when I hit rock bottom, which we talked about in the last podcast. And it was,
Yeah.
okay, I need to change the script. I need to take like true power back in. I need to really focus on holistic, inside comes out health. And where does that start? And so that's kind of where my mind shifted.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because and that's so true, right? Is there's so many people out there who struggle with this, and it's amazing, like, the stress that can happen, right? There's
Hmm.
just stress that starts to build up, and then cortisol starts to build up, and all these diseases can start to happen when people get stressed by what is going on with, I'm too heavy, or
Hmm.
I don't look right, or whatever that is, and they're when they're looking at social media and comparing themselves to somebody else when they should never compare themselves to anybody else.
Right.
Love
And I've heard
you who you are.
it's true. And I've heard this new like thing that circles through social media right now, and it says don't compare your life to someone else's Instagram reel. And I think that that's really powerful because you really
Yes,
don't know what is going on behind cameras with people.
exactly.
You can only focus on yourself and what's happening in your own control here, and you can't control those things.
Yes, I
But it's
agree.
true. The stress and all of that is connected to so many health issues we see, and it raises cortisol, inflammation, and it's not good at
Right,
all.
it's
And
not
we're
good,
seeing that
yes.
in our country.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, all the metabolic diseases going on, so,
Mhm.
many women struggle with chronic dieting and food guilt. In your opinion, what is the biggest lie that diet culture has sold us?
Yeah, I think the biggest lie I notice is the one size fits all approach. And part of that too, one is for women. That's definitely not right for women. Women work very differently than men with their bodies, how their hormones fluctuate. We work on a 28-day cycle, 28 to 32 days. Men are a 24-hour clock.
Yeah,
And I know for myself, before I got involved with nutrition in the way that I am now and seeing it from the feminine lens, I used to always look through a masculine lens of 24 hours and okay, this is what works for men, right? Like you wake up, coffee, gym, run, protein, work, this like very strict schedule. And that's just not the reality. I think another thing too is to understand that there's a lot of marketing that goes into all products online. So oftentimes when you see this like one size fits all, or this is what I did, and look at all of our people here. Oftentimes it's just marketing
Yep.
and it's not the whole picture. So for me, I would say like a big thing would just be knowing that it's not a one size fits all, and there's a lot of compassion that you can have for yourself through the process. And the process is going to be a long process. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet, right?
Right.
It's not like a 5 days, take this juice cleanse and you're going to be healed.
Right. Right.
It
It's a
is,
journey.
it is. Yeah. And
Yeah, and it's
it's your
just being
entire
mindful.
life.
Yeah, it's being mindful on a regular basis. It doesn't mean that you can't have a I don't know, a cookie every once in a while,
Hmm.
but it's being mindful about eating and putting into your body the healthy things that will help you heal your body and stay healthy, like doing proper fasting. And women have to fast differently than men,
Hmm.
because we do have a cycle. I mean, once you're postmenopause, you can actually cycle very similar to men, but it's recommended that you follow the moon phase, because we still have hormones going on, not as many, but yeah, so we just need to be more mindful about what are we doing, whether it be fasting, but certainly inflammation becomes greater as we get older because we lose those hormones that protect us from the inflammation. And so we really, really have to be mindful. And you see some of that even at your young age, where
Hmm.
you've had some issues with foods that were triggering metabolic disease, right? Or
Hmm.
causing trouble, stomach aches, whatever that was.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with I had IBS, which I think a lot of that stemmed from medication that I was taking that was just
Yeah.
wreaking havoc on my gut microbiome.
Yeah.
And even with that, because my gut was so damaged or so compromised, I should say, it took me a minute to reintroduce foods back in a safe way, right? And so
Yeah.
and that's and that and fasting played a role in that, but you're absolutely correct. We're very different than men, and then
Yeah.
even in our lives, as you're saying, postmenopause is completely different than the experience that you have when you're menstruating.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
I
it's
I don't know what
amazing.
that experience is going to be like yet, but
But your mom knows, so
yes.
she's going through it right now, and so, yeah, I mean, it's amazing what happens to us as we get older and we don't have estrogen and progesterone and all these hormones that are protecting us from
Mhm.
inflammation and keeping our bodies healthier and being able to detox easier, whereas we need to be more conscious when we get older. You gotta sweat to detox, you gotta eat proper foods, you gotta, all these
Mhm.
things that, well, we know, but we need to share with others. So
Yes. Yes.
so what are some common signs that someone's relationship with food might, I guess, be harmful than more harmful than they realize?
Yes. I think what I notice a lot will be kind of a restriction, like cycling between restriction and overindulgence. There can be finding, like in times of stress or loneliness or uncertainty, finding food to sort of soothe that. So, like self soothing through food, rigid rules around food. This could look like, oh, I can't eat bananas for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe like constantly thinking about food, where, yeah, I hear that too.
Oh, what is that?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Oh, we can keep going, but
Yeah.
like a constant thinking about food where you're almost like planning your next meal or having a lot of anxiety around food. All of these are really what I notice with clients and with people that I talk to, and even within myself. Those were things that kind of show an unhealthy relationship towards food.
Yeah, I agree. So I think it's my laptop.
Oh.
Okay. So you just sent out a newsletter. You have this Down the Rabbit Hole. Talk a
Hmm.
little bit about that newsletter that you just sent out.
Yes. So I do on Substack, which is a new kind of a blogging platform. I do short recipes with kind of like little nutrient bites for different nutrient properties within foods. But then I also do longer deep dives into nutrition topics. And those I have free for the public to read. And it kind of stems from my own enjoyment of and my master's program, I kind of learned how to love research and how to love making it applicable for everyday life and making grocery lists and easy swaps, those sorts of things.
Yes.
So a lot of that comes from kind of my excitement for learning and the joy of learning and the joy of curiosity. And so I use it as a creative platform for my curiosity and also to share with others, because I think back to where I was before I found nutrition and before I met the people that I did that introduced me to a different idea than what I had been hearing online or seeing online. And it really starts with a conversation. It starts with seeing something that sparks some sort of creativity or some sort of inspiration within you. And so for me, where I'm at is I want to be hopefully a voice, whether that's one person or however many, a voice that I needed when I was younger,
Yeah.
and be that to say, hey, it's okay, but quiet out that noise and listen to yourself, listen to what your body's telling you, and add back into your body what it's missing instead of taking away and continuing to restrict. And look from it of an abundance mindset, not like the scarcity of I can't eat that or I shouldn't do that or any of that. So that's kind of where my rabbit holes and all of that come from. And I just started a newsletter, which came out yesterday, as you were talking about. And that's more so focusing on just the whole wellness approach, because I think we get so focused on food and that it's like, okay, well, if I ate a banana and I didn't eat the cookie, like I'm good. And
Right.
but yesterday I had a cookie. I mean,
Right.
it just depends. It depends on the moment. It depends on, it depends on how you feel.
Yes.
And I think understanding, right, like, okay, this is what sugar does to the body, understanding those things and knowing how it's going to affect your body, and understanding what an apple does, and then pairing those two together.
Yeah.
I just did a TikTok video on apples and how, if you want a cookie, have a cookie, but, pair it also with some apple and some protein, which is going to
Yeah.
help stabilize those blood sugar crash it and keep you from having a blood sugar spike, because the protein prevents the blood sugar spikes, and apples have fiber, which help kind of stabilize that as well. So,
Yes.
it's not to be afraid of food. I think we've lost the joy of cooking. Like, I think of Julia
Yeah.
Childs, and it's like the joy of cooking in the kitchen, and somehow we've lost that in our society. And I hope that we can get that back, and that
Oh, we
joy of
love cooking.
experimenting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just
it's
bought
so
a case of
wonderful.
plum tomatoes from Bear Creek Organic, and we just boiled them and pulled the skins off, and we're gonna make a gravy or a sauce, with it.
Yeah,
Um,
yum.
yeah, oh, we're just so excited. We got some fresh, organic garlic, and we have some fresh onions from our garden. So
Hmm.
yeah, so we're excited to make this, and I bet it's gonna be so delicious. And we were watching a show, last night. We'd had some downtime, so we watched a show, and it was talking about making it was Italian, and it was talking about making the, mom Nana's, sauce and what was in it, and she had used apples. She had used some sweetener, and
Oh,
he was trying to
cool.
figure out what the sweetener was, but he used apples.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it was really cool to see, like, how did they add the sweetness in, and it wasn't from a
Yeah.
jar and, all that jazz, it was homemade.
Right. Well, and
So
that's so fun. I mean, and I think, like, I spoke with my grandmother, and I remember she would always use. I mean, she was super resourceful of the ingredients or whatever she had in her kitchen. And so I remember this story of growing up. They didn't have hot sauce, so they used ketchup in their tacos. And it's like you would think it's weird, but it actually tastes really good. And
does it?
it's
Okay.
things like that where I think, sometimes, because I cook all the time and I share recipes, things like that, and people will ask me, well, how do you make something out of that? And it's like, well, go in the kitchen, have a bunch of food, whether that came from your garden, the local, um, Bear Creek, the local
Right.
stores, whatever it might be.
Or farmer's
Maybe
market or
it's
whatever
farmer's market. Maybe it's even some ingredients in the back of your fridge, like some pickles that you're
that you
like,
haven't
oh, I don't,
used.
I don't know, I don't think I'm going to use that. But bring it all out and think, okay, let's like
What can you
problem
do?
solve. Let's
Yeah,
create. Let's see what's going on here, and
exactly.
try this with that, and try different flavors. See what, and that even in itself is super healing, and something that I recommend to a lot of clients that are dealing with the restriction mindset is bring joy back into food and bring community back into food. Share a meal with somebody that you love, cook a meal with somebody you love, and that will really, it changes the tone. I think it changes our our system, our, what would you call it, our nervous system,
Yeah.
and it calms down the nervous system. And I think especially when it comes to, so we're talking about kind of that like restriction and overindulgence and that like difficult mindset when it comes to food. When you're so stressed out about the meal that you're about to have and you're like, okay, is this going to bloat me, or is this going to cause X, Y, and Z, or am I going to get fat, or whatever is in your mind about that. When you share a meal with somebody, when you cook a meal with someone, or even with yourself, and you sit down with it, you have so much joy for that meal because of the experience, and your system is calm, you're calm, and you have that bite and it tastes amazing, and your body is more welcoming of that food. And
Yeah.
that response is going to be different than sitting down and like looking at your meal and picking out all the wrongs in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just and it's amazing when you cook at home, you know exactly what's in it, right? So when you go out to eat, a lot of times they use seed oils, they
Mm-hmm.
use wheat that might be sprayed with glyphosate.
Mm-hmm.
They use a lot of non-organic foods, so those are all sprayed with pesticides, and
Right.
yeah, so
Lots of
it
sugar, lots of overly processed, and
ingredients.
fillers.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, we try not to eat out, even if I mean, we don't go to fast food, but, if we were to eat out at one of the local restaurants, we just know that they're not cooking with beef tallow and,
Mm-hmm.
avocado oil or, extra virgin olive oil, right? They're just not
Mm-hmm.
doing it, so
Yeah.
how do you begin to help clients unlearn restrictive behaviors while still supporting their health goals?
Um, to unlearn restrictive health things, I think the
Behaviors.
main thing that I try to focus with my clients is like almost zooming out of it and making a mindset shift. So this is changing from kind of what I was speaking about before, where it's like the fear mentality of the food, and instead of being fearful of food, see how food nourishes us. And
Yeah,
so by bringing that, you're bringing empowerment back into your choices. And over time, you focus more on progression than you do on perfectionism.
that's great.
And over time, that really does shift. And I think even in that, having that compassion for ourselves, like it's not going to go overnight. Like I feel like in America, because we have so many quick fixes for everything and social media, everything's instantaneous. We expect a product very quickly and we expect perfectionists very quickly. And that's just not true. But and even like habit stacking and finding ways to work with the client. And again, it's a personalized approach, and it's not a one size fits all. So, but really zooming out and making intentional mindset shifts is what
I
I find
agree.
helps.
Yeah, and it helps, like, I have a whole questionnaire that I ask my clients about,
Hmm.
"Tell me about your background, tell me about what you do for a living, tell me what your, life environment is like, do you live at home alone? Do you have animals? Do you have a family? What kind of work do you do? Or is it stressful?
Hmm.
There's a lot of different questions that you ask, and then what do you typically eat in a day? And understanding the full spectrum of what could be causing their behaviors. If you're going out for pizza and you know, um, sandwiches all every day, you're
Hmm.
probably going to start having some problems with just eating pizza and sandwiches all the time,
Right.
right? Because there's a lot of processed meats and there's a lot of glyphosate in there and all kinds of stuff, so
There's
yeah,
all kinds of stuff, and
yeah,
and yeah, it's true.
yeah. So the
Yeah.
Larson Health
And
podcast is Oh, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Okay. The Larson Health podcast is brought to you by LarsonHealthWeightLoss.com. Are you ready to ditch the diets and embrace true food freedom? Visit us online and download your free mindful eating guide today. So, one thing that comes up often is emotional eating, right? So,
Mhm.
how can we begin to tell the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger?
That's a great question. And what I've noticed again with clients with my experience is that emotional hunger usually comes on really quickly. And it's often tied to some sort of triggering thing like loneliness, stress, or boredom. You had mentioned in your questionnaire, which I think is very important and is also in mine as well, where you ask, do you have animals at home? Do you have family? Do you live alone? Things like this. That's all important because oftentimes the emotional eating is triggered by an event, a stressor, something like that. And again, it comes on quickly, and and usually it kind of goes out of control quickly as well. But
Yeah,
physical hunger comes on gently and consistently. Usually I get hungry around the same hours. And for me, and again, that also depends on where I am in my cycle. Um,
true.
Before my period, usually I get very hungry and I can get kind of a headache if I don't eat, right? And
Okay,
that
yeah,
to me, I know, okay, I've gone too far, and I know to eat more frequently during that time. And
yeah,
actually, it's one of the ways that I know when I'm coming close to that time is because I start to notice, wow, I'm really getting hungry a lot, and I'm craving a lot of nutrient dense foods and potatoes and sweet potatoes, that sort of thing. So root vegetables. So I know
yeah,
my body needs more nourishment right now, and I need to
yes,
honor that and not restrict. But right before that is ovulation, where you could go all day and you just feel great, and you could just be drinking water. And it's
yeah.
like, oh, I forgot. Oh, I don't need to eat. I feel great.
Yeah, that's your
Um,
power phase. Yeah, when you're
yes.
going through your cycle, it's a po your power phase, and that's when you can fast the longest, that's when you can work out
Mm-hmm.
the hardest. You're
Yes.
sparkling and shining at that
Yeah.
moment, right? So
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I wake up, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. I can't seem to get satisfied. It's like, okay, well, I'm just coming to the next stage of my cycle. And for women, it's so important to honor those cues
Yes.
and to
Well,
understand that your
listen.
body is looking. Yes, listen to your body and understand that your body is is is, uh, is asking for more nutrients.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. You really have to listen to your body, and I think a lot of people just don't listen, right? They just they're so focused on filling their mouth versus just stop and listen. Drink water because a lot of times you're thirsty,
That's true.
and make sure that you're giving yourself the nutrients you need. You need healthy fats, you need protein because those satiate your body more, right? If
Right.
you're eating cookies and chips and whatever, it's not gonna satisfy your hunger.
No, it's not. And it's actually just going to make you feel more hungry because those things are. I think that's one thing that we could talk about too in this is how, you know, I've had clients where they eat a lot of food, right? And they say, "Well, I eat a lot." It's like, "But what are you eating?" Because your body, all that it receives, it the hunger goes based off of your nutrients that you're putting in. So if you're eating a processed cookie, it is completely void of all nutritious value,
Yes.
and what you're really putting into your body is confusion. So it gets all those, the carbs and the protein. There's very little protein, but mostly sugar, carbs, and fat from a cookie, right? But then it's looking for those nutrients. It's saying, okay, I need vitamin A, and I need magnesium, and I need calcium. I need these things. So you keep getting hungry. And a
Yeah.
lot of times people who eat a lot and they're eating a lot of these processed foods, they don't understand that it's not that their body is working against them. Their body's really working for them. It's just looking for more nutrients. And by filling your body with, a steak, right? Like something that has tons of minerals in it, and or chicken that has good protein, and it also has all kinds of minerals and vitamins in that, and steamed vegetables that came from your garden with a little bit of olive oil, and things like that are going to put nutrients back into your body, and you're going to feel yourself say, I just had like 7 bites of this and I actually feel full.
Yes.
And you recognize your hunger cue and you say, I don't need to eat anymore. I'm okay. I'm
Yeah.
satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. We have some organic, pasture-raised turkey, and I'll have a slice of turkey with some avocado, and I am so stuffed.
Hmm.
And now granted, it's probably about a 7-ounce slice of turkey, but
Hmm.
that and avocado, and I don't eat for probably 5 hours. I am so full.
Right. Yeah.
So Yeah, it's
I mean, and also
amazing.
the fats in the avocado, you're getting fats, protein, and carbohydrates just in that meal.
Yeah,
So you're giving yourself all three of the macronutrients that you need, and then
yeah,
you're filling yourself those fats in the avocado. Fats are incredible for sustainable energy.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and all good for our brain, for our joints, for our
Mm.
eyes, our health. I mean, it's just amazing
Your
what
skin.
your skin, yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we're all glowing. So what role does self-compassion play in breaking the binge restrict cycle?
Yeah, I think self compassion is everything. You know, the cycles of shame is just very cancerous. It overgrows into something else.
Yeah,
And there's been so much shame put onto food, and having that compassion for yourself and almost view yourself as a child in a way. You know, when you see a child make a mistake or something, you aren't going to like yell at the child. You're going to just say, "Oh, she's learning," right? Think of it in the same way of yourself. If you do something silly and you know, okay, I did that incorrectly or whatever. It doesn't even have to be correct. Who puts that label on there? But think of it yourself as that child and just have some compassion, because that's where healing really grows, is in
yes,
that. But putting shame on it, it's just going to go down that downward spiral. And
down that rabbit
um,
hole.
yeah. And you just kind of think of it as, well, what can I learn? What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I
And also
agree.
laugh it off. I think that we've like forgotten how to laugh.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, oops.
yeah, exactly, right? Because stuff happens, life happens. It's
Hmm.
just don't fall off the wagon, get right back on it again. We all do
Yeah.
things like right? That's why they put bumpers on cars and erasers on pencils, right? Because
Yeah.
right? Mistakes happen, and
Yeah.
so just get right back on the pony again, or
Yeah.
enjoy it while you have it, and then get back on the pony again.
Yeah. I love that. I've never heard that analogy, but that's great. And it's
Yeah,
true.
it is true, right? I mean, because we all make mistakes, and that's why we need erasers and bumpers. So,
Yeah. It's true.
so how can women start rebuilding body trust, especially if they've spent years feeling at war with themselves?
Yes, this is also another really great question and something that I work with a lot. What I would say is to take a moment to be with yourself and to learn yourself. Um, I mean, this can be, it's kind of all that we've been talking about here, but this is a deep breath before a meal, or um, cooking and experimenting in the kitchen. Um, Almost like relearning. I mean, it's a relationship, right? So in a relationship, you have to constantly show up with kindness and give it space to grow.
Yeah.
So the same thing I would say is true with this is you're learning yourself, you're understanding yourself more. So, and that's, I think, where a lot of healing comes from with that.
Yes. Yeah, because I remember in my 20s, I would journal. So I would write
Yeah.
down, about the day and what happened and what are my thoughts and good or bad, right? I would write about it and talk about it. And later on I'd go back and figure out like what happened and how did I get through these things and
Hmm.
and then just also being grateful for everything, right? So I always think like so many people, think that they never have enough. I'm like, if you're grateful for what you have plenty. Right?
Hmm.
So we have a roof over our head. I have 10 fingers and toes. I have 2 eyes I can see. I have a brain I can think with. I mean, some of the stuff is just so simple, right? I have a car I can drive. I can actually work if I want to work. I can volunteer if I want to volunteer. I mean, there's just so many things to be grateful for. And I think once you start to become grateful for the little things that you have in life, the abundance comes and you can start appreciating yourself more and respecting yourself more because you have everything you need to build the life that you want.
Yeah. What you said is, I think, is completely spot on. And again, it goes down to nervous system. And when we're thinking of gratitude or making those mind shifts, the nervous system settles,
Yeah.
and it's a different approach, and it's a different way that your body will receive. And
Yes.
again, like if you think of all the bad things, then when you eat, your body's just going to be like, oh, this is, I'm in fight right now. I'm in fight, so I can't enjoy this. I can't take the nutrients from this. But when you're coming from a place of abundance and gratitude, then your body's saying, what a wonderful thing to receive. And,
Yes.
and, and you see that change and you'll feel it. And that's something too that I talk to clients about is how do you feel? Because
Yeah.
it comes down to how you feel. And if you're, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't like this food, or I don't want to try this. It's like, okay, well, take a breath, take a deep breath before you have something new. And then ask yourself, how do I feel? Do I
Yeah.
feel energized? Do I feel kind of sluggish? How do I feel? And almost like moving, especially for women, like moving through with feeling
Yeah.
is crucial for
It
women.
really
And
is.
and I think again, like in our world, it's a kind of a man's world in a way, and so we go by our thoughts and our brains a lot. But it's like, but as women, we have this incredible thing of intuition and our feelings. So let's move through that and let's listen to that inner
Yes.
voice.
Yes. Intuition is so powerful in women.
Hmm.
So you've talked about the concept of food neutrality. So can you explain what that means and how it shifts someone's mindset?
Yes, I would say like with food neutrality, I've noticed this like good versus bad when it comes to food. Even what we were talking about earlier, it's like, okay, the cookie's bad. So, what it's not that an apple is this virtuous thing and a cookie is sinful. It's just
Right.
that how the body processes it are going to be two different ways. And so I think when we kind of zoom out, again, it's zooming out of this like narrow view of good versus bad. When we
Yeah.
zoom out and we look at the science behind food, how our bodies process it, how we feel, all those things come together. And I think through that, you can understand that what your body needs in different moments, and you can better supplement and better nourish your body based off of what it needs in those different moments.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. So you're listening to the Larson Health podcast with Victoria Curtis. Get practical tools for intuitive eating and stress-free nutrition at larsonhealthweightloss.com. So Victoria, in your work, you focus a lot on progress over perfection, which is fabulous. Why is that mindset shift so key for sustainable health?
So it's very true. Perfectionism, it's not only is it paralyzing, it's also impossible, and over time it burns us out. So progress is kind of again that inner child, that younger child. You're watching someone grow and learn. And you're growing, you're learning, you're moving forward, you're failing forward. You're asking yourself, okay, so this thing happened, how can we learn? Again, I think it just comes down to the shift in the mindset. And when we're in perfectionism, it gives us it's just so constricting because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But in our minds, we've created something that isn't reality, that we're trying to achieve, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And through that, there's only heartache that goes down that road.
I
But in a
agree.
road where it's open and you're thinking, okay, how can I learn? Where is this progress going to take me? And celebrating the small wins. That's another thing too, is the small wins. I think we look at this big picture, we look at someone, it's the Instagram reel, right? We see,
Yeah.
look at X, Y, and Z on social media, and they have this beautiful, perfect life. And so we want that, but we don't think of the small, everyday wins that it takes to
Right.
get to that.
Right.
And, that comes back to habit stacking, and it comes back to some of those things that we work on is what are the little shifts that I can make day to day, and over time becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a mindset, and that mindset becomes who I am, right? Like those things add up over time. So it's more about the journey than it is about this idealistic version of something that we think we want.
I agree. I still hear it growling. So trying to
Yeah.
push it further
I'm wondering
away.
if it's coming from my end because I haven't heard it in any of your other podcasts.
I know. I think it's just I had to literally reboot my laptop right before this podcast. I'm like, "Oh, of course." Everything was starting to lock up and it said something was running and I said, "No, just quit it." And then I
Oh, no.
rebooted everything. Thankfully it all happened in time. So,
Okay. Oh, good.
yeah. So, but I don't know, it's still clicking. So how
Yeah.
can women pursue wellness without it becoming another form of control or obsession?
Yeah, I think that's really good because the word control, right? Like you go from one control to the next. And I want to change that and think of it in care, right? Like, how can
Yes.
I support my body? And again, that comes back to that gratitude and that intentional time with yourself and journaling and learning yourself. It's how can I support my own body today? Um, and not try to control the outcome. I think for women, we have so much happening in our brains that it's very easy for us to shift into a form of control and wanting to control the outcome. Um, but I want to encourage women, especially, that let's tune into something else that's very ingrained in who we are as women, which is our care, our nurture. And if we can start by nurturing ourselves and taking care of ourselves and supporting what our body's asking of us, that's going to overflow elsewhere. So I
Yes.
think, like, to me, it's almost taking that word control out of the picture completely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And not having an obsession, right? I mean, you need to, in your pursuit of wellness, just becoming, self-loving of yourself. Don't try to control it because control it doesn't work the way you think it's going to work,
it
right? I
comes
mean,
back to bite you.
yeah, it does because life just happens and you can't control
Mhm.
everything. So just let it go and
Yeah.
do the best you can and, follow the tools that we give you and things will turn around.
Well, and another thing with that too, with control is, and in my experience with control, especially when it comes to restrictive eating, right? And that turns into a mind thing as well. And to say, like, okay, we just need to stop control, it's easier said than done, obviously. Sometimes what really helps is to shift that control to something that is controlled, right?
Yeah.
So if you can shift that into a different passion project, that can be incredibly helpful because, in one way, if you release the control of restrictive eating or binge eating or whichever one it might be, you release that and you harness control, whether that's, you
What you
know,
buy,
what
you
you
know,
buy.
what you
Yes,
put in your
I can
house.
control what I put in my garden. I can control
Yes.
how I nurture my garden. If you almost shift that control into an external thing, not a relationship, not your relationship with food or your like emotional and personal relationships, because I've seen that kind of coincide, kind of going together.
Okay.
And you move away from those things and you put it into something that can bring abundance.
Yeah.
And you see, okay, I was controlling what I bought. I was controlling, that's a great point. I was controlling what I gardened. I was controlling how I cook. You move that, shift that control over there, and it
Yeah.
frees up this whole other world. And it's like, well, if I can control this, I don't have to think about all these other things that I can't really control.
Yes. Yeah, and relax. So,
Mhm. Laugh.
yeah, give some laughter, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Laughter is such a great medicine. That,
It
again,
really is.
I
So much
think we've,
oxytocin.
yes, and I think we've like lost it. In my most recent newsletter, I was writing about this past month in reflection, and this month I just decided I'm going to say yes to things that I usually would say, like, oh no, I'm not good at that, or I don't know it, or whatever. And you end up just laughing in the process. And I think
Yeah.
laughing is where a lot of, I mean, joy is where we calm our nervous system. And I was dancing in the rain and I thought, well, I'm going to do a push up on a paddleboard, and I fell, things like that. And you just
Yeah.
laugh and you enjoy life. It's not,
Yes.
don't make it so serious.
Yes, exactly, and my husband is a constant reminder of that because he is so funny, and he
Good.
just constantly makes me laugh. He's so goofy and silly. So,
Yeah.
you know, it helps to have somebody like that in your life when you grew up in not a funny house, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
you've got somebody so humorous in your life.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. So maybe you could share a success story of, a client who shifted from food fear to a food freedom.
Yes, I have a story, but this one I think this one is a really good one because it shows that it's not about, again, this like huge result. It's about the little wins. So
Yeah.
when one of my clients had a lot of concerns about certain food groups, specifically carbs, and it was very restrictive dieting. And over time, and in releasing a lot of that, releasing the control, finding where she could put her control into, and she put her control into one of her passion projects. And with that, the other day I heard from her that she had dinner with her family and she had potatoes. And she was laughing with her family and with her friends and at the dinner, and she ate the potatoes and she felt fine. And it's like, well, yes. And so that to me is such a huge breakthrough
Yeah.
because it's a food item that was for so long told this is, this is bad, this is dangerous, this, I can't eat this, it's going to make me fat, whatever.
Right.
And then it was shifted, and now it was in a enjoyable moment with friends and family. There was laughter, and she had the potatoes and she was fine and she was good, right?
Yeah.
And so that I think is a great example of breakthrough. And
Yeah.
it's in those small breakthroughs where it's almost like the snowball effect of the snowball, where it's, you just get a little breakthrough and then over time it accumulates, and before you know it
Yes.
you have this giant success. But
Yes.
it starts with that small breakthrough.
Yeah, and those little wins of like, "Oh my god, I changed a dress size or a pant size or a shirt
Yeah.
size," right? It's not
Mhm.
all or how do you look in your clothes, right? How does your
Mhm.
skin look? Is your body healing itself? There's
Mhm.
all these little wins besides just weight loss. Or
Mhm.
how about I just made a good food choice today, right? I didn't grab the cookie, I decided to grab the apple instead, right?
Right.
So all those are wins.
Mhm.
So what, daily tools or practices do you personally use to stay grounded in a balanced and intuitive lifestyle?
I love this. Journaling is a big one for me. Having, I think what helps me get balanced a lot is like walks, meditation, kind of tapping. What I've been learning a lot about right now is tapping more into your femininity, and in that, what can I release? What can I, how can I shift in that mindset? Um, but journaling is incredible because
Yes.
it's so therapeutic. You can get out everything on those pages. All of
Yes.
your fears, your anger, you can release what needs to be released. Walking too, being in nature, just putting your phone down, I think is really important. Um, Finding ways to connect with your community, give back in your community. There's so much more to life than food. Food,
Yes.
I love, right? I love food. I grew up loving food. I love to cook. It's a huge part of who I am, but there has to be more to you than that. And again, it goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier with the restrictive mindsets and also the obsession on foods is when we make that such a big part of our day, we can't really see over it, right? But if
Yeah.
we can minimize it and we can find all these other passions that we love and we can take moments of, being calm and all these different things, that obsession becomes smaller and it becomes more
Yeah.
manageable and it becomes something that you can control. And for me, I love I love to have not only time with friends and times with people that I love, but find ways of pouring into them. And it helps me kind of calm my mind a lot
Yeah.
and release a lot in those process. So I would say community for me, journaling, nature, a
Nature.
spiritual relationship is important as well.
Yeah.
Um, all ways of having more on your mind than the elephant in the room that you think about all the time. Finding ways of shifting away from that.
Now do you do grounding? So maybe, like, put your feet to the grass
Yes.
or the
Yes.
sand? That's
Yes.
great.
Anytime I can, yes. And I'm a very big believer in like sun exposure and
Yes.
getting lots of vitamin D.
Yes, it's so
So,
important.
yes. And so, things like that for sure. There's so much information online that you can find of all kinds of things. And that's like what I love to share is what I'm learning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's
and
apps
it's,
out there that can tell you, like, are you getting your vitamin D? Like, if you go sit outside for 10 minutes in the morning, go sit outside 10 minutes later in the day, when the sun
mhm,
is, in the horizon and just get some
yeah,
sun. Maybe even, like, I'll do 10 AM in the morning, but just 10 minutes, I'm
right.
getting my vitamin D.
Even when I was working a 9 to 5 job, during my lunch hour, I would on the sunny days, I would go out and have my lunch outside. It
Yeah.
just, there's ways to make it happen. And I think when
Yes.
you are looking to make something happen, it will happen. But if you're
Yes.
looking for excuses, you'll just find more excuses.
Exactly, that's so true. Yeah.
Mhm.
You really it's just all about being intentional, right? Intentional with your
Yes.
food, intentional with moving your body, intentional with getting some good vitamin D because vitamin D heals so many things in your body. It's amazing to see.
It's good for your bone health, for your mental health, for your gut microbiome. They see it with hormones. It's incredible. And
Yes,
vitamin D is such an incredible nutrient.
it really
And it's
is.
actually a hormone,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
hormone.
that our body synthesizes through our skin.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's truly amazing how our bodies work, and they really thrive off of nutritious foods and
Yeah,
community and giving back and gratitude. I mean,
yeah,
really, our bodies need those things, and it's interesting because we see in our Western world that that's kind of the things that are that are difficult to come by from a country that's so abundant and so much. We're lacking in the things that are crucial for our development of our bodies and what our
yeah.
bodies are craving.
Yeah, and I think so many kids today don't go out and play in the grass and play
You
in
get
the
dirt
in
in
the
their
yard, the
fingers.
dirt yeah, play marbles or play
Yeah.
whatever, in the ground and dig your little hole to play marbles in and,
Hmm.
just little things like that. I mean, it's just amazing and
Yeah.
finding those worms and finding the butterflies and finding the caterpillars and, just finding all
Hmm.
the little things that you see when you're out in nature.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, thankfully I was homeschooled, so I always had dirt in my hands and I was always barefoot out. I remember my
Yeah,
parents always talk about my black feet because I would run outside and be barefoot all the time.
that's
Um,
awesome.
but that's microbiome for
Yeah.
children. That's minerals that you're getting through your skin. I mean, those
Yes.
are things that I mean, I love like even going out in the garden. When I'm out in the garden, I'm always barefoot, and I love to get the dirt under my fingernails and
Yes.
to really like rub it in and just know, it's I'm I'm speaking life into the plants, and the plants are bringing life back to me.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
that intentionality too.
It really is, yeah. I mean, there's just so many things that you can enjoy in life by being intentional.
Hmm.
So, are you ready to heal your body and your mindset? Explore a 12-week body trust and food freedom program at larsonhealthweightloss.com. So, if someone's just now realizing they have a complicated relationship with food, what's the very first step you'd recommend?
I think right now that the fact that they have come to their awareness is crucial. So I would want to celebrate that moment because that I think is such a huge moment for
It really
people
is.
is to say okay, like I I know I need help or whatever it is. There's something here that's wrong. And from there, I would say journaling because journaling helps for me to see from my clients and from myself, it helps us see patterns. And once we see a pattern, we can approach that pattern in a unique way and find ways to um, like destroy those patterns and
Yes.
change our brains. So
Change
one,
them.
I want to celebrate that person truly, and two would be journal and see where the patterns are.
Yeah, because, right, people can have patterns that they don't even realize that are causing the problems that they have. So just by looking and like you're talking with journaling, just by looking at your journal and understanding like, oh, that's where I used to be, but now today this is where I'm at today, right?
Mhm.
And getting those little steps. And so I think, like I used to use this analogy with running when people are like, I've never been a runner. I'm like,
Mm.
just run from this lamppost to that lamppost and start there. Right. And then you
Yeah.
can go from this lamppost to the second lamppost next time.
Right.
Just work yourself up, and that's how you start, and that's how you get to a 5K, then you go to a 10K, then you go to a 10 miler and then a half marathon, right?
Yes.
You keep working towards those little goals, and it's like eating an elephant. It's just one bite at a time.
Yeah. It's habit stacking too, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, after I wake up, I'm gonna go for a walk. I have a dog, so that's a habit that completely was a great one for me.
Yeah.
Was I wake up, I don't look at my phone, I go for a walk with my dog.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
getting out, you're in nature, all of those things. But the little habits, the little wins, you're right. Like that's so important.
Yes.
And I think oftentimes again we see this like final product and we get so overwhelmed by the final product of what we see online or what's in our brain, whatever it might be, and we say, okay, well, that needs to be where we're at. This is where I'm supposed to be, whatever. That we forget that it's the baby steps. You have to learn to crawl before you can walk. You have to
Yes.
learn the little things.
Yep. That's so true.
Hmm.
So, there's so much conflicting advice out there about online about, whatever it is. There's a lot of conflicting information. I'm curious what your opinion is on how can someone tune out the noise and reconnect with their own body's wisdom?
Yeah. I think that this is great because for me, it comes back to control, and this is something that we can control. Um, be really intentional about what you consume, not only like food that you eat, but also the social media posts. Their social media allows you to restrict or block or unfollow. There's no reason why you have to follow those things that are
Yes.
triggering to you. There's a way that you can cultivate and curate what inspires you and not what drains you. So I think with drowning out the noise, it would be very intentional about who you allow into your space. And this is true not with social media, but even in life. If there are people in your life that are draining you and that are not helping you, or they don't inspire you, or they don't encourage, or they don't support who you're becoming, those people should not be in your life and or in social media. We're able to make those decisions, and it takes a huge amount of courage, but those choices that you make are going to bring the biggest reward because over time, once you've curated a space that inspires you and that teaches you and that cultivates curiosity and growth and all of those things, the other things are going to fall away. And I think
True.
that to me is a place of control that you can absolutely hone in on, and you can decide today, I'm not going to look at these things. I'm going to curate what I want.
Yeah, yeah, and really trusted sources of information, right? So, people who are
Yes.
actually doing the research like you are, right? You're doing the research, you're doing the homework, Mark Hyman, Amy Shaw, there's
Andrew Herberman.
and Angie Huberman. Yeah, I mean, there's so many that are out there that are actually doing the good work, and
Hmm.
if once you start to learn this stuff, you'll know it, and it'll come like second nature.
Yeah. And that's a great point as well. Like trusted sources is a phenomenal point.
Yeah,
And that too, I think with like certain things on social media, right? Like we get opinions and not facts.
right.
And also, again, like with the curiosity, look into the look into the peer-reviewed articles. Look into like ask the questions and do the research yourself.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
that
and take the
that's
time
what's going
for
to
it.
really resonate with you, and that's what's really going to um, like help you get to where you're supposed to be.
Yes, I agree. So, what are you currently working on in your practice? Any new projects, courses, resources coming soon?
Yes, a lot of it is what I'm doing on Substack, which is just sharing peer-reviewed articles and the digestible posts,
Okay.
and sharing what I'm doing with how, um, just how I'm living life and enjoying it in that way. That to me is a really big creative thing that helps me feel inspired and excited. But a lot
Cool.
of what I'm doing in my work um, is sharing articles and sharing information and just trying to get more information out there. And that's with my Substack with Chasing Carrots. And
Cool.
there's an Instagram and TikTok that come with that as well. But it's mainly
Well, where
for
can listeners follow you?
they can follow me on Substack on the app or on the browsing substack.com. And my blog is Chasing Carrots. And I post deep dives, which I call rabbit holes, into nutrition related topics, inflammation. I'm working right now on one on metabolism because that's kind of a topic that gets thrown around a lot and there's a lot of misinformation. And so we're looking into what actually is metabolism, how can we support it with foods, what are some simple swaps that we can make, that sort of thing. And then I also post recipes with little bunny bites of nutrition information on each of those.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. It's so wonderful to see you again. And your insight is such a gift, and your mission to help women reclaim their power around food is deeply needed, right? So there's so many people out there who need this. And to our listeners, if you've ever felt trapped in cycles of guilt, restriction, or confusion around food, let this conversation be your permission to pause, reflect, and choose a kinder path. Food freedom is possible, body trust is possible, and it starts with small shifts, one choice at a time. Until next time, stay kind to your body, stay curious about your hunger, and stay connected to your joy. You can find Victoria Curtis at Substack, VLOUIS,
Yay, yes.
dot
Or Chasing
Substack,
Carrots.
or Chasing Carrots, yeah. Instagram at VCurtis26. And thank you again for joining our podcast.
Thank you for having me. This was really nice.
Really good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay. All right, we did it.